Do you want to do more than follow orders? Think outside of the box and manifest your dreams? Then you've come to the right show. Welcome to the award-winning podcast, Holding Down the Fort by US VetWealth. I'm your host, Jen Amos, a Gold Star daughter, veteran spouse, and entrepreneur. For Season 8, we continue our wonderful partnership with the Rosie Network to highlight motivational stories of personal growth, financial awareness, and autonomy in our military community. We're also excited to showcase our partnership with Blue Water Advisors. Well, we have a lot in store for you this season, so let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode here at Holding Down the Fort. Thanks to the partnership with US VetWealth, the Rosie Network, and Blue Water Advisors. Takes a village, y'all. Wow, we're nearing the end of the season, y'all. This is the third to last episode. You know, you're either like, oh, thank God. You're either, oh my gosh, thank God. Or you're like, no. And if you're like, no, then wonderful. I'm glad that you're getting a lot of value from the show. And if you haven't already, I highly recommend, especially if you want bonus content, especially if for whatever reason you find me entertaining, to join us for free on our portal at holdingdownthefortpodcast.com/portal. There you'll get access to our private podcast show called Inside the Fort. It's a very clever name, isn't it? I came up with it. And you'll get more candid commentary. But yes, we are nearing the end. So crazy. You know, 1, we hit a major milestone, 200 episodes. And 2, we are nearing the end of season 8, which is so crazy, which means summer is basically here. I'm recording this early, but I'm sure by the time this episode is released, my cat would have brought in a number of dead animals at this point to show how much he loves us, because apparently that's how cats show love. And my husband's probably vacuumed a couple of cockroaches by now because we live by the beach and we just cannot avoid cockroaches. And I'm having the time of my life. I'm probably having the time of my life during the summer because summer is my favorite season. And I said all the last 3 things sarcastically, by the way. All right, let's get into this. This is episode 203. Wow, 203. And it's Thursday. So this is a fun day for people who have really, really enjoyed the conversations between Scott and Mike. Scott is my husband from US VetWealth and Mike Wallace from Blue Water Advisors. And, you know, together they talk about career progression for military retirees seeking employment in post-military life, amongst other things. They go off tangents like me. So runs in the team, and I guess runs in the family because of my husband. So this one, in this conversation, Scott and Mike, this is actually a continuation, by the way. This is a continuation of episode 201. So if this is the first episode you happen to come across, I highly recommend that you start with episode 201. So that's 2 episodes ago, last Thursday, because this next part may or may not make sense depending on if you didn't listen to the last episode, 201. So continuing from episode 201, Scott and Mike discuss the military retirement blueprint. The military retirement blueprint is actually the overarching name of our online portal. So Inside the Fort, my private podcast show, is housed under military retirement blueprint, all for free. You can opt out anytime, by the way. And you get my husband's free book, Don't Forget Your War Chest, which is great for high-ranking officers who are seeking alternatives for the Survivor Benefit Plan, BT dubs. But anyway, they discuss military retirement blueprint and the war chest strategy. If you're hearing about the war chest strategy for the first time, then keep on listening. It's I'm going to say that it's like our most popular strategy that we offer in our company, US VetWealth. Again, great for military retirees who are seeking alternatives to Survivor Benefit Plan, Thrift Savings Plan, and more importantly, they're looking for alternative ways to protect 100% of their pension, in which you can learn more about in this conversation. They also discuss the 10-year financial planning strategy. What we tend to find when we talk to our clients is that as they transition out of the military, they often say, you know what, I can work another 10 years. I don't know if I can do another 20, but I could definitely work another 10 years. And so Scott and Mike talk about what that can look like on paper in regards to financial planning if you only want to work 10 more years in post-military life. So they get into that. They get into the challenges of the military mindset and their shared passion in supporting transitioning service members, or as Mike Wallace would say, our career progressing cohort members of Blue Water Advisors. I just really appreciate you, Mike, if you're watching this. I remember telling him that I sent him an email early on and I said, hey, like, you don't have to do anything on your end. I'm just letting you know that we're going to be featuring, all the live replays that you and Scott have done at this point on my show. And it's just so meaningful to have a partner such as Mike Wallace and Blue Water Advisors, because they're very much in alignment with what Scott and I do. And I do believe that they also really align with what we're doing here at US VetWealth, which is, to continue to share motivational stories of personal growth, financial awareness, and autonomy in our military community, whether you are seeking out entrepreneurial opportunities or employment opportunities, either or, apples and oranges. Both are good. Both require different tastes, I guess. I don't know. Where was I going with that? Anyway, please enjoy this conversation and I will chat with you all more in the post commentary. You can either listen or watch. I highly recommend watching, by the way. You may have picked up by now that Thursdays is more ideal to watch on YouTube because this was originally a live show that has been repurposed for a podcast, but the video is still available if you want to watch it, which will be provided in the show notes. So, all right, thanks for listening or watching and enjoy. I'll chat with you later.
So we can teach some hacks, little things. And here's the cool thing. I'm still learning. I would like to keep learning. I have my own version of this.
Yeah,
absolutely. This would be more relevant for the active retiree going through the process, going through your program. But it doesn't have to necessarily be a Blue Water thing or a US VetWealth thing. This is just I think, a useful tool that I would have found helpful. Remind yourself of your health. And so maybe each episode we could talk about a different section a little more in depth, but also get people's feedback. Hey, tell us what you think your talent stack is that you're bringing to the table. That's not just what did I do in the Army? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because like for me, I think of my talent stack is, hey, I'm decent at a couple languages and I can travel on a whim. Like that's a random talent stack, that some people just aren't comfortable with. So I want to add that into my thing. I don't know where it's going to become useful, but, in random situations, sometimes it kind of comes up. I want to identify those types of things that are essentially my strengths. And instead of trying to fix my weaknesses, I just want to keep leaning into my strengths. Because if you build the right relationships, those people will help you with your weaknesses or solve those problems too. So anyways, obviously I could talk about this, but this is the general idea.
No, I love it. And can you go back one slide? I'm not sure if you can do that or not. I probably messed you up there. Okay, stop here. I didn't make a formal presentation. I was just throwing some slides I wanted to share with you, so don't worry. No, I love it. But the biggest problem, right? The group think, right? And I find
95% of active duty military get SGLI. Everyone's overpaying. That's groupthink. That's the definition of groupthink.
No, but how often do we approach these problems? We've been indoctrinated in this, right? Because we have the trust and confidence in our warfighting brethren out there. So we do groupthink. Hey, what did you do? You're reaching out in front of you. Hey, what do you think about this? And it's a potential misstep because that may not be the best answer for you. Just because in this juncture, right? Just because the guy in front of you did this, that may not be. And the one thing that we put out in Blue Water is I say, don't get caught up in comparing and contrasting your career progression to anybody else's, because everybody has a different set of big rocks. Everybody has a different set of mission, vision, and priorities. Everybody is looking at different options. If you want to leave Department of Defense and work in government contracting, maybe that's less of a networking bridge that you will have to build than somebody who wants to go work for Xerox, right? As an example of a company, right? You can't compare and contrast those, starting points and ending points because they're just different requirements. So I love how you just say, hey, problems, right? Groupthink. It's not a one size fits all, right? It's unique, right? And you just have to approach it that way. But Scott, let me ask you a question here. I love this. And so, hey, we've got some pretty good friends down at Marathon, right? Consulting, who are going to be our integral partners as we're bringing Blue Water Digital online and doing some pretty cool things. I wonder, Scott, think about this. People that utilize this product like 36 months out, 24 months out, 12 months out, and then it's like every 2 months, 10, 8, 6, all the way down to, man, I'm out and I'm stepping into transition. I wonder if there'd be a way, right, that we could reach out to the audience and just say, what are your milestone, key points that you need in each of these blocks? And then have an IT way where we're able to collect all these up. You with me?
I know exactly how to do it.
Think about this. And so now 50 people use this product, 100 people use it. Now, 1,000 people have used this, and let's condense this down into those big, hey, here's some things, because I love ideas like this. But even you said, hey, there's things we're still learning. And you and I do. We stumble through these things and we do learn a lot. And we go, wow, I think I know what some of these milestone achievements would need to be and when they would need to happen. But that name may not be the same for everybody. Or maybe, we've missed something, right? I don't know. I love the idea. I love the concept, right?
Well, the easiest thing we could do is, one, if you're watching this video, you'll comment below on your thoughts, or if you want to, give us any input on putting something together like this, we're all ears. But we could also just do a survey and send it out to your group, just kind of a tangible. So why don't you and I think about more than 10 questions, probably less, have 1 or 2 open-ended questions, a couple of, but I've studied how to do surveys, business audio, this kind of stuff. It's, there's different ways of doing it, just throwing stuff up on LinkedIn or whatever, but it'd be probably more tangible to get people's written thoughts, if they're willing to share. And I think they would. So. And
this is what I would say for the listeners out there, for the audience, right? One of my most exciting things I get to do in the relationship that I have with Scott Tucker here is, he is an idea guy, right? We're on the phone back and forth, right? You generate these thoughts, these ideas, and it's exciting and it's energetic. And, I just love having these conversations. You really are immersed into this, right? You're dedicated to it. And, you come up with some really keen insights, right? And it just amazes me how you just, think this stuff up. It must be on the yoga mat, Scott, when you're doing this, right? And these ideas just kind of hit you, right? But you've got a lot of good ones out there. And I just love, how you just kind of tease them out a little bit, because there's value in every single one of these things, right? For the audience, depending on which side of the fence you're on. If you're trying to build a war chest and protect that, or how do I navigate this awkward time in my life, career progression, transition, it is all about, us trying to simplify a lot of the tools, make it available for our members so that we can ensure their outcome is easier and better, right? And you've heard me say this before, the fact of the matter is, in general, the demographic that lands with us at Blue Water, it's the largest underserved demographic by the tri-guided programs, from Department of Labor, Department of Defense, right, Veterans Affairs, they all come together and they put these institutionalized programs out there. But the fact of the matter is, right, the bulk of all the attention, and probably rightfully so, lies in that, what would we say, that E4, maybe E5 window. The numbers wise, per year, how many people step out of active duty, right, and, move on to the next success. And the bulk of the numbers are that. Our membership are a sliver in comparison to those numbers. But I've never in my heart, having lived it and done this, I've never interpreted that as need no help. You with me on that? Mm-hmm. Like, the powers that would come up to 04s, 05s, 06s, give you a firm pat on the back saying, hey, you're educated, you're smart, you're going to figure this out, you're going to be okay. While that may be true, it doesn't help the individual reduce the stress. It doesn't help them figure out these lessons that they need to figure out. Right? It doesn't need to be that difficult. And the point that I make, we don't have to live with that, these programs that, have fallen short of meeting our needs and underserved us for so long. There's a better way. And we're a better way, right? We offer just like you do. And I love the partnership and going forward. And now that we've been doing this for 3 years, starting 4 years, hey, we've legitimately got analytics to talk about. Here's the results that we've delivered. You can compare and contrast that to anybody else out there. I'm game for that, right? But we're making impact, for our membership. And I just love that, right? We're bringing value there.
Yeah. And that's where I think, did that next step of value, bringing that membership you've already built, back together for those that want to continue to network and increase those skill sets.
Yeah.
Why not do that in, a biweekly kind of Zoom call environment? That's how all these are set up. That
I love it.
It's that simple. Cool. Well, I'll, work to draft up kind of a program, how that would, work. We'll keep
Let's
on.
get together over a cup of coffee. I mean, let's talk about it. I'd love to do it.
For sure. Because that way I could show you some functionality on the portal, the platform. Yeah. And that's kind of the last thing I just want to show you real quick is a quick vision of, I think, how, we work together with some of our programs. Obviously, this is more from my perspective, but what I never like to say in the financial advice, financial planning, investment world, whatever, wealth, insurance, is Scott's a financial advisor or financial planner. No, don't call me that. Who am I to give you advice? You make your own decision. No. And that's been a struggle trying to position differently and just say, we're not doing that. We're consulting high performing senior leaders retired out of the military who got unique financial challenges, regardless of where they're at financially. They don't necessarily just want to keep doing things, following the masses, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a better way to do it, whether it's how do you get a job better or how do you do the military benefits decisions better. We'll consult you on that. And between Mike's workshops and his program and his coaching around that as well, really, I like to consider you a high-end consultant, right? An executive consultant. You do workshops, and then people consult with you one-on-one. And that's kind of what I'm doing. My books, I've written them as a consultation, right? Versus, hey, here's my fluffy idea. It's more like, here's the problem. Here's how you solve it. Here's an example. And yeah, that's kind of how we can, work together. And similarly, that's what I was talking about with the audit. When it comes to the financial thing, whether you're thinking about your job or you're thinking about your retirement plan,
right?
Let's see where you're at today.
Right.
You did all the deployments. Where are the dollars? So given that I've just done this hundreds of times, that's my free, hey, I'll do this for anybody, do an audit with you because I know you need to know this. And I know you're probably not on that timeline in the right perspective or just haven't thought about it. And so I've seen so many situations and obviously some of you are going to be a good fit to work with us. We'll point that out. We'll discuss it. I'm launching the War Chest Academy as a way to introduce this philosophy and training so that if people want to learn more than just, hey, how do I get insurance to solve SVP? Sure, we can just do that. That's the consulting thing. You want to get more into the coaching side of things. And so Blue Water fits, right in there essentially through, I think we call it high caliber networking or high caliber positioning. Oh, shit.
So it is. I think it's a good fit. And I'm appreciative of it because, Scott, right? Sometimes our members will venture into this discussion with us, right? And while we're happy to have that discussion, I just want to be really clear. I don't look at myself as having the depth of knowledge like you do in these financial areas, right? To have these conversations, right? And to bring a lot of what you've learned to the table and share that to the betterment of our members, right? That's just not me. And this just drives home the importance of having these valued, trusted relationships, right? So I'm just not, the person out, to kind of do that. I can share with you what I did, what worked for me, but that may not be what's best for you. And Scott, that's where you come in, right? You've got that insight, right? So
yeah, but and I also want to have the platform for us to share all the knowledge, and that's what we mean by the military retirement blueprint. It's it's the space to come in and grab what you need, as you're designing your own post-military lifestyle. Sure. You might need some of it, you might need all of it, whatever. And it's our back end platform. So we can lump in our networking group right in here with everything else. So more on this to come, but can preview it a little bit. Like even today's call, we had it scheduled inside here. So that's
love it.
So we can do a similar thing.
If I'm somebody who's listening right now and wants to go back and review some of the conversations on topics that we've had, like on strategy, on networking, can I do that through your platform? Can I?
It's all here. Jen posts everything that we've done. Here's a full replay. It's slow to load right now.
Yeah.
But all of our previous clips and stuff are here. We put it out on social media too. It's just, this is also more of our library, and we're building it out. This is the back end. So you're seeing more than it's available, but
I love it.
Well,
just give me a quick update. Like, what are you and Jen working on right now? What are the next big things, in U.S. VetWealth, your life?
I mean, essentially, our next big project is getting this War Chest Academy out, like starting our kind of daily show, training program. Because really, where things are kind of going for us is other financial professionals leveraging our programs.
That's
so whether a client's already working with somebody or or even realtors or any independent business owner that might be working with a military retiree or is a veteran small business owner. If we're again talking that $250,000 annual income lifestyle or up, which is where we're going to be, whether we realize it or not, in most cases, then that's where things get interesting. And the other financial professionals just don't know the nuances of these military retirement benefits, and a lot of them don't have unique insurance solutions the way we do with the War Chest. Because they're in the stock market, the risky money approach. And then as the economy is crashing, people start to get worried. And then the clients want to move their accounts out. This is the back end of the financial industry where it's just, accounts are up, accounts are down. People are just moving back and forth thinking they're going to get a better solution with a new person. And that's just never the case. The better approach is to go the safe money, route. And then you don't have to worry about it. But, anyways, that happens in these times, every 10 or 20 years when the economy starts going haywire, people start to get worried. And so the financial professionals go, oh, well, what do I do for my clients? Well, I'll tell them about the War Chest. And a lot of them have their minds blown. They haven't heard this stuff.
And I love the other thing, too, and just for the listeners out there, right, you approach it in a 10-year block, right? I know you're happy to strategize a 1-year plan or a 15-year plan.
Yeah, exactly. It's just in general.
But that 10-year block for most, if you kind of look at Blue Water's members, right, we're about that 55 to 57% 06s, right? We're about that 25 to 27%, 05s, and that demographic kind of when you're hitting, that time period, 10 years seems to kind of initially make sense to us because for many of us, you're starting to kind of approach your 50s and, you're starting to get close to that 60, 62 number. And I can wrap my brain around 10 years. What does that look like? Right. And I think that's a great way to approach it. But although attractive in conversation, right? But again, for the listener, you'll script whatever plan they want, right? 8 years, 6 year, 5 year, 15 year, whatever you want to do, right? The numbers, you can kind of work that out for them. So I love that too. So it kind of makes sense, but we're kind of drawn to that 10-year block. Really, I think for most of us, right?
It's the most useful because we've been thinking, I mean, that's what we're expecting. When you join the military, if you don't get out in the first 5 years, at the 10-year mark, you make a decision, am I doing 20? And then at another 10 years, at the 20 mark, you're like, am I doing more? Right? So it's fair. If you're 40 and you're thinking, all right, 10 years, I could be done at 50. And if you're about 50 years old, I could be done at 60. Like those are tangible goals. So that was the point anyways. Yeah. Like, unfortunately, the pension wasn't enough given inflation. So you have to work another 10 years or do something.
You need your box, right? That's what we say. How big do you need your box? So.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds like you guys are working some exciting things. I know you've been tracking us, right? For the listeners out there, right? We just knocked out our September Washington, D.C. cohort. Great audience up there. We had a chance to bring a few extra instructors up there. Scott, we're working diligently hard on, trying to get many of our instructors up to speed, right? So we almost had a one-to-one touch point, between the lunch roundtable, all the instructor base, and our members up there on that. But it was a great day up there. We taught it at the Watergate facility, and it was just a great day, right? It really was. We also had a couple of special guests joining us there. It was Mr. TJ Grady and Mr. Mike Lowe, the individuals from the Naval Academy Alumni Association, right? So they were up laying a critical eye on us and the program and trying to understand a little bit more about what it is we're trying to build and bring together for members. We subsequently spent the following day after our cohort, we went up to Annapolis, right? And we toured the new Flugel Center up there, beautiful facility up there, the Naval Academy Alumni Association. Really proud of that building up there. They've done a phenomenal job up there. But now they're vested into, they've heard their members loud and clear. Hey, we need a little bit more for members that have, spent their time in service. And now what is the Alumni Center going to do for those individuals approaching their transition? And lo and behold, Blue Water's a kind of a turnkey solution set for them. So we're excited that that's going in a positive direction. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that we stay in conversations. And we've got some strong leading indicators that 2024 is going to be an exciting time. So more to follow on that. So that worked out well. We've also got our local area networking event tomorrow, right? We support Warriors Tap House. Gabe Culler and
I'll be there.
His team over there. And it's a great networking event, not only just to come and have a beer on us and just interface there, just with everybody who shows up, but we take it a step further as we require everybody, or not require, but we're appreciative of people that register so we can put together a networking connection document. And if you haven't been to one of our events, if you go and register, you'll be the recipient. And, we'll put that out. And so it really becomes an interactive, right? I participated in the networking event, but now I've got this document where everybody's email address is on there, what company or business they're with, all of this information really kind of comes out. So we're excited about that. So that's coming up. So I think there's going to be some interesting engagements with CNAP out in San Diego. We're continuing to work with the SA Naples 6th Fleet team and the Naval Academy. So I think the schedule is going to, potentially take us in some exciting directions and continuing to meet, a greater need for more individuals right out there. So we're excited about it. So that's just a little bit of a snapshot on kind of what's going on with us. But I look forward to buying you a beer tomorrow, sir.
I don't drink beer anymore, man.
Well, come on. Maybe we'll make it a light beer. Or maybe whatever. You pick your beverage of choice. So
I'll eat the steak bites. No,
okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, protein.
That's
about that.
Part of my the health cake. It's like, anyways. No, I don't want to. I don't try to.
It's awesome. Yeah, you got to be lean and trim to meet the needs of all our members.
I've had my share of beer over the years. I had to call it quits at some point. Anyways, great. Glad we're going to be able to be there tomorrow. We'll bring a few more copies of our book. If you show up early enough, I'll give you a copy until we run out. My supplies last. But cool, man.
I love it.
Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Okay.
Tap House, Virginia Beach.
Yep.
Hit me up on LinkedIn or visit our website, usvetwealth.com. But obviously hit Mike and I up on LinkedIn if you got any questions about what we talked about today. And then eventually I'll have more.
We are still here to serve, so reach out as required. Thanks, Scott.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right.
Hey, this is your host, Jen Amos. Thanks again for listening to today's episode of Holding Down the Fort by US VetWealth. Visit holdingdownthefortpodcast.com to access the full show notes of this episode, including resources mentioned and bonus content. Once again, that's holdingdownthefortpodcast.com. Lastly, stay after this outro music for something a little extra. Thanks again and chat soon. Bye for now. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Post Commentary. Thanks for hanging out. And I hope that you got a lot out of this 2-part series. Again, if for whatever reason, episode 203 is the first episode you're listening to, I recommend going back to episode 201 from last Thursday, because that is part 1 of this conversation that you just listened to. Hopefully it'll give you more context. If you're like, wait a minute, why did that sound weird? You'll find out. But yeah, I just want to express my gratitude again to Mike Wallace and his team at Blue Water Advisors, and just for this incredible partnership we have with them. It's very meaningful. It's especially meaningful because they're local. They're here in Hampton Roads with us. And so we could actually hang out with Mike Wallace and his team and his cohort members at Blue Water Advisors in person. We have attended a number of their networking events in the past and continue to do so. And I just want to, thank you, Mike, for treating us like family in a sense. It means a lot to us. And it's my hope that our continual partnership is of benefit to both of us. It's mutually beneficial. And I feel like I just said the same thing differently, but My husband says I talk in circles, so there you go. And yeah, but it's all very meaningful. And to the listener or to the viewer here, if you want to stay plugged in to these live shows, like you actually want to watch the live shows, I highly recommend that you subscribe to our company's YouTube channel. The username is USVW TV. That's USVW as in US VetWealth TV. So USVW TV. And you can subscribe and you will always get notified when they go live. And the benefit of watching live is you can participate in the live chat or you could be invited to be a guest on their show. And if you're invited to be a guest on their show, then that replay might end up on this show. So look at that. Very exciting stuff. So I hope you'll join us. Until then, thank you so much for watching. And here we begin our descent to the end of season 8. So chat with you all next Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. Bye.